Hey guys, today I want to start a new series about .NET Core. Now, as an indie developer, you want to be able to build web apps fast and in an efficient way. .NET historically, I've used .NET for 5 years, more than 5 years now. One of the problems I've had is when wanting to build side projects and if you have ideas for websites you want to build, doing that with the .NET framework historically just wasn't an option, because you basically could only run it on a Windows machine, which means you have to have a Windows server and you have to pay for the Windows license for the OS. And if you want to use SQL Server, you have to pay for a license for, I think, the standard edition, and that's really expensive. So having to manage that and IIS, which is the Windows web server technology, similar to Apache or something like that. And anyways, for someone who just wants to build an app and put it out there quickly, that's a huge infrastructure overhead, huge cost, just not an option, which is why a lot of developers would move to PHP or something like that. And that's what I did. I started learning PHP on the side. Specifically, I started looking at the Laravel framework. And I had side projects that I could just put up on my shared hosting, which are on a Linux server. Just, piece of cake. Put it up and it works. And I could put up, tons of sites just using shared hosting. So as an indie developer, that's what you want. So Microsoft knows that. First, they basically rewrote everything, like C# and the languages themselves are open sourced. And they took the languages but put a new runtime on top of them. So now we have .NET Core, which is a whole new runtime, and it's cross-platform, so you can run it on Linux or Mac. So as an indie developer who wants to do, quick development, get my stuff up on a Linux server because it's cheap and it's easy, now you can do that with .NET apps, which is amazing. It's, for me, because I have so much experience and so much investment in .NET and C# in particular, I don't have to go now switch to PHP and learn a whole new paradigm. So that's pretty awesome for me. So in this video, I want to go over just really quickly what is .NET Core, the specifics of it, and point out the benefits for you as an indie developer who's interested in building your own apps. You have some ideas for some cool SaaS products you want to build, or web apps or whatever. So I'm on the, official .NET Core site here. And getting started, if you've never used .NET Core, I guess you would click here. You want to get started. And first thing you need to do is download the SDK, which I've already done. So I'm not going to do that here. If you're on Linux, this would be the page that you would get. You're probably using Ubuntu by chance, or most likely. And so all the steps are here. I have a Linux machine that I do some development on. So I've done all this, and the cool thing is you can have, put your code up on GitHub and work on your .NET Core app on your Windows machine, push your changes to GitHub, go downstairs, go on your Linux machine, pull your changes down, and start building from there. That's so cool. I love that. So it's pretty straightforward. You go here, install it, go through the steps. So here is the Microsoft's .NET page, not .NET Core, but .NET in general. You'll notice that they've really doubled down on .NET Core. It's .NET Framework, they're not referencing it anymore for new development. So you can see here, it's free, it's cross-platform, you can use it on Linux or Mac, it's open source. We'll get into the benefits of open source later. And you can see this is changing, but .NET Core is more than just web apps. You can build tons of different things with it. Now it's still evolving. It doesn't have all the features that maybe mobile developers want or desktop developers, but for web apps, I think it's great. One of the cool things, if you go here, you can click on customers up here. This will give you a list of all like case studies for all these different customers. And what I did is I wrote a blog post basically outlining these. So I went into kind of the meat of these use cases and, you know, boiled all of these use cases down. And so on my blog, I have a recent blog post. What is .NET Core? Basically what I just told you. One of the cool things is you can build .NET Core apps and you don't need Visual Studio, which can be pretty slow and sluggish depending on, you know, what you're building. If you're just building a small website or small app and you have to use Visual Studio, which is known for being slow, that can be a hassle. So here you can see in my blog posts, I go over basically those use cases and I point out kind of the main benefit that they were leveraging. So for Raygun, it's high performance. They were using Node and they had 1,000 requests per second going to .NET Core. Now they have 20,000. So that's a 2,000% increase in performance as far as like response amount per second, which is huge. And .NET Core is one of the most performant web frameworks out there. It's I think in the top 10. I'm not sure if I have that on this blog post, but anyways. The other thing, it's Linux enabled, so cheap servers. And going back to the high performance, if you have a .NET Core app that's really performant and you have a cheap server, now you can have a cheap server because you don't need a big server, right? So now you can have a Linux server, but you don't have to get the big Linux server because .NET Core is so performant. You don't need all that extra power to run your app. So it's kind of piggybacking on those features. Scalability comes with the kind of all of these tie into each other, but basically it's what I just said. Because you don't need huge servers, you can have a small server. Then you can have, if you want, you can have a whole bunch of small servers working together. So instead of you need more performance, if you need more performance, instead of getting a bigger server, you can start scaling out the other way. So you can start adding more tiny servers and doing load balancing, things like that. Now for indie developers, you're probably not going to do that, but it's a huge benefit for larger apps. Freedom, flexibility goes in line with the cross-platform idea. Build it on whatever OS you want. Use Visual Studio Code, which I use all the time. I don't use Visual Studio at all for .NET Core, and I love it. And it's open source. What does this mean? It means, for example, that this company, that's not the company name. So this is the name of the company. And Ben Adams is known in the .NET community as like the superhero of C#, of .NET Core. So he runs this business who has a game, this Age of Ascent game, and they're using .NET Core and C#. So when they come across performance issues, they can go to the source code on GitHub, fix it to make it better, and then do a pull request and so on. So Ben Adams has been doing this over and over, and he's really helped the platform to grow in terms of the performance. So it's a huge benefit of open source is companies who are using .NET Core can contribute and make it better, which is what's happening. And what about indie developers and side projects? All of these sound great for maybe enterprise, but except for the scalability. It's great for you because you can have a Linux server and you don't need a big one, and you can still run scalable apps. But some tools that are great, dependency injection, The configuration is way better than .NET was. If you're familiar with .NET Framework, configuration was using web config. Don't like it. And there's new kinds of web projects, for example, Razor Pages. Maybe we'll get into that another time. And ways to access your database that are easier. The big one I like is there are new CLI tools. So being cross-platform, they've built this ecosystem of tools that work on Linux or Windows, doesn't matter. And they let you create apps and scaffold them. You can build apps and so on. Whereas before, those build tools were a lot harder to use and they were Windows only. These tools are similar to like NPM or something like that. So that's it for now. In the next video, we'll start building a .NET Core app. I'll show you how to start with the CLI tools. And if you enjoyed this video, like it. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And thank you so much. Have a good day.